Volksbühne. Guten Abend, Berlin. Guten Abend, Deutschland. Guten Abend, Europa. Guten Abend to all of you. Hoping that something good is beginning here tonight. Yes, Europe will be democratized, or it will disintegrate.
Start cooking, recipe to follow.
Well, we did start cooking. The recipe is not ready yet, but it is almost done. Because democracy, as Brian Eno said, the democracy is a system for people who do not necessarily believe that they have the answers. For people who want to get together in order to crowdsource the answers. And this is precisely what we've been doing as DIEM25, as the European Spring. From February 2016, from that event, we began asking ourselves the crucial questions that our powerful and extremely wise leadership consistently failed to ask. You know, Europe had its 1929 moment again in 2008. We had created a single market and a single currency, which was not fit for purpose. It was never designed to sustain the shockwaves that came from, where else? Wall Street. Again, before toppling BNP Paribas, Société Générale, Deutsche Bank, Commerzbank, Finanzbank, all the banks. But we need to look at the two faces of authoritarianism and oppose it by means of democratic politics. Democracy is not a luxury. Democracy is the only way that societies can respond collectively in a legitimate way to periods of crisis. The European Spring is unique because for years now, with our partners, and you will meet a lot of them now, we have been working together to answer the questions. What do we do about the crisis of the environment? How do we find 500 billion euros every year to spend on the green transition that is necessary to create good quality jobs and to save the planet? Where do we find the 100 billion euros that we need every year to fight poverty? How do we restructure both private and public debt? And we have the answers. It's called the New Deal for Europe. We are the only contenders in the May European Parliament elections that have specific answers to what can happen tomorrow morning across Europe. And we're seeking your vote across Europe to put this program on the agenda in the European Parliament, in the European Council. This is only the beginning. Today, we are celebrating the beginning of this campaign. But allow me to conclude by saying that unless we manage to inject humanity into politics, unless we turn politics from a dreary business of careerists, is by having people like these here who do not want to be elected. They will be elected with your help because we need to do a dirty job. But none of us are standing here asking for your votes because we want a career out of politics. Democratic politics means you come in, you do your duty, and you step out and you hand over to the next person. We are the only Democrats with a coherent program and the capacity can single-mindedly transform this Europe from a continent which is in the clasps of a two-faced authoritarianism into a continent that works for the many. The recipe is almost done. We need you to help us complete it, and we need to be able to serve it to the rest of Europe in May 2019. Thank you very much. But before we close for the night, I would like to call on the stage Srećko Horvat for one specific reason. I think he's responsible for DiEM25. Because back in 2015, after I resigned from Parliament and I was very depressed because of the surrender, the two of us got together at the Volksbühne Theatre in front of a big audience, and we realized that the people who had come there were very keen, a German audience, to discuss what the surrender and the crashing of Greek democracy meant for them. And I remember we left the Volksbühne, the two of us, a bit tired, and went over to a cafeteria, it was, right? Just opposite the Volksbühne Theatre, and we sat down, and he popped the question. No, he did not propose, but he said, what do you want to do next with your life? And I said, look, the idea of setting up a Greek national party and promising people that we're going to do that which we failed to do last time round, it can't motivate me. I mean, I can't get up from bed to do that. And he said, so what, but there is one thing that I would like to dedicate my energies to, and this is a pan-European democratic movement. I just said it. And he said, we should do it. I said, yeah, all right. Pigs may fly as well, right? Next morning he calls me and says, remember that theater we were at yesterday? I booked it, 9th of February. We're beginning. I thought, what? But in the end, you know, large changes begin with two idiots in a cafeteria. So this is idiot number one, I'm idiot number two.
Well, Yanis got me on a surprise. I didn't know that I would have the honor to end this, and since you were so sincere, I will be sincere as well. We met for the first time in 2013, when Yanis was still a rather unknown economist, writing a rather known blog, I would say, among economic circles, and we met in Zagreb at the so-called Subversive Festival with many other people. Alexis Tsipras was there, Slavoj Žižek was there, Oliver Stone was there, Aleida Guevara, the daughter of Che Guevara, was there, and so on. And look at us now. It's a fast forward. It's a few years, only a few years after that, after 2013. It's less years after the Ohi referendum in Greece. And if you look around us, I would say it's a pretty interesting and funny company we have here, which no one would have imagined in 2013. Of course, no one would also imagine that this bunch of people here might end up in the European Parliament. Most of us, except some professional politician here, don't want to end up in the European Parliament, and I would say this is precisely the reason to vote for us. I never said this publicly. I feel embarrassed to say, give us your money or vote for us, because that's not my profession. But we only have 2 months so that the idea which was born in a small cafeteria opposite to the Rosa Luxemburg Platz can become not only a dream, but reality. So please, when you get out of this room, first have a drink, of course, celebrate, but during the next days and the next 2 months, please help us to make this happen. Thanks a lot.
You finish, huh? We have said enough. It's time to do stuff. First a video, and then let's all celebrate together.
Finally a video.
Yes, the video.
Hi, my name's Clive Lewis. I'm a Labour Member of Parliament here in the United Kingdom, and I'm just giving a big shout of support out to European Spring. I think it's critical that we have these transnational European-wide parties that are able to take on the European Union and its anti-democratic act. So European Spring is a fantastic initiative to get members of the EU voting for one party no matter what country you live in, with that agenda for tackling climate change, tackling inequality and bringing democracy to the heart of the European project.
DiEM is, I think, the only bright light that we have on our horizon. DiEM sees clearly that this opposition between liberal establishment, a new populist right, is a wrong opposition, that we should move out of it. And DiEM sees it perfectly that the new leftist populism is not a solution. The lesson of the Greek fiasco with Syriza is you cannot do it at the level of nation state. History is on our side. What we stand for is simply the only option. If we don't win, we are lost. Then what our future will be, you can learn from Hollywood. We are, in some sense, the only voice of truth. So, all the best to you, and since I hope part of that you, to all of us. It's not only about us. If we will be eliminated, then if I were to be a billionaire, I would do what hundreds of billionaires are doing. Start to construct myself a bunker in New Zealand or in some faraway country. But since I want to stay here in my beloved Europe, I say, let's move on. Let's be ruthless. Thank you very much for your attention. I ti pozdravi Janisa, kaže mu sretan rođendan, ali sam ljut jer njegov broj nije tako velik kao moj, verovatno, ne?
We must be guided